This is how you create App Store screenshots. The first thing you'll need is a app. I use Bolt to create a quick demo app. And I'm just going to download it real quick in the export download. And then I'm going to pull up the folder we just downloaded, which is the project Bolt. And then I'm going to take it out of the downloads because you don't have access to modify it. And then you can put it into a different folder. I'm just going to put it into the desktop and then open up my terminal. And then I'm going to CD into the desktop and CD into the project, and then open it up with your favorite code editor. I use Cursor. Okay, and then I'm going to do Control-Shift-tilde to open up the terminal. And the first thing we're going to do is npm install packages to get the node modules. I'm going to do npx expo prebuild. This is if you're going to run the app not using Expo Go. If you're using Expo Go, you can just use npx expo start. Okay, now we'll start with the iOS screenshots. We're going to do npx expo run iOS, and then we're going to do the device flag, pull the specific device that we want. We'll start with the iPhone 17. And so essentially, while that's loading, we are going to create the App Store assets, aka the screenshots, and we have a couple different options. Just getting the actual screenshots, which is what we're doing right now, and so you can just use those. The other option that most people use, the majority of apps, is we add a little design to the screenshots. So we'll be doing this, and then you can also make it fancy, but we're going to stick with this option 2 design. Okay, once your project has loaded, you can just take a screenshot using Command S, or going into File, Save Screen, or you can hit this button right up here. Generally for iOS, you need 2 screenshots, so make sure you get 2. And if you're doing Android, you want 4. So if you want, you can just get 4. Okay, and we're going to make sure we exit out of this debugger because that will show up if we take a screenshot of it. So we got our 2 screenshots. Now we're going to exit out of the device, and we're going to stop our server using Control-C. I'm on a Mac. And then we're going to do npx expo run iOS again. And then we'll do device, or you can also open up the simulator device here. Devices, iOS 26, and then open up the iPad you want, but we'll just do it through the terminal. And we'll want to do the 13-inch. And I would recommend getting iPad screenshots if you are going to have an iPad, because otherwise Apple will deny your application if you don't have iPad specific screenshots. So I'd recommend either disabling the iPad or getting the iPad screenshots, which is what we're doing now. So we'll do Command S once it's started, get started, and Command S again to get our 2 screenshots. And we can stop the server, Control C, and then npx expo run Android, and then we'll do device. And then we'll pull up a medium phone. And if it works the first time, then that's a surprise. So you're most likely going to have to go to Android Studio. And then you'll find your project by clicking Open. Right now we have it in the desktop. And then we're going to go to the Android folder. And then once you're inside the Android directory, we're going to click Open. And then we're going to click on Device Manager. And then if you click this plus button, we're going to create a virtual device. And then here you can create your phone. So you can do medium phone, or another good one is the resizable experimental. You click next, and then you click on the API, or the newest one that they have available. I usually do the newest one. And then you could click next, and then finish, and then it will start downloading your virtual device. And then once you do that and it's all downloaded correctly, you can go back to Cursor and then it'll show up in your devices. Okay, so I had a little trouble with my Android emulator on the medium phone. So we're going to exit out of the server and run npx run Android. And then the flag device again. And then we're going to try the API 36 resizable experimental. Okay, so it loaded correctly and with the resizable. I'm not sure if I just had to reload it, but we will do Command S to get the screenshot again. I'm gonna hit Get Started, and we're gonna do Command S. And if we're doing Android, normally you would want to get 4 screenshots. So if you're doing Android, make sure to get 4 screenshots. I think you can use the same ones if you're trying to be lazy, but yeah, I'd recommend getting 4 different ones if you can. And then we're going to exit out, and then we're going to stop the server again and run npx expo run Android, and then the device flag again. And we are going to use the Pixel tablet. We have the emulator for the tablet pulled up, so we're going to exit out of there. We're going to do Command S, and then we're going to maybe exit out of there and do Command S again to get our second screenshot. So now, if we go to our Finder and desktop, we have all 8 and more if you have Android screenshots, and we can use these directly for the App Store. But now I recommend using a service. We can go scroll down here, and Expo has this nice template that we can also use called the App Store and Play Store Asset Requirements. And it basically looks like this, and then you just upload your screenshots here, and then it's just a little bit easier to export them. But it's essentially, you already have the screenshots, but we are going to go to almostdone.ai to generate the screenshots. So what you're going to do is, I already have an account, but we are going to sign in because I already have an account. And you're just going to have to make an account if you don't have one already. And then we are going to just go with the light modern. And this is completely free. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we'll upload the screenshots. So we have screen 1 and screen 2. So first we're going to set up global screenshot, which will be used as a default. And we're going to be using our first iPhone screenshots. So we don't have to do iPhone. So we'll do the iPhone for both, for screen 1 and screen 2 as a global. Now for the iPad, we're going to get the screen 1, and then iPad screen 2. Go back to screen 1, and we're going to do the Android, which is the first, I believe, this one right here. And Android 2, and you can label these to make them easier, but I think we kind of remembered how we screenshot them. And then we're going to do the tablet. So screen 1 and screen 2. Perfect. So now we are going to save and close. And now if we check, we go iPhone, iPad, Android, and it got the respective screenshots on here. So we'll go back to iPhone, and now we will change the title. So this is called avocado themed to-do list. That's just like what our app does. And then this would maybe be like a feature. So like squash or mash your avos, which is like your to-dos. And then we can also change the background. I actually have this color picker. We'll just get the text from here, and then we can change the background color to green. Perfect. And we'll add like a little thin background. And then we'll hit export and export screenshots. Okay, perfect. And then you download your screenshots, and it comes in a zip file. And now we have our screenshots that we can upload to the App Store. These are all the required ones. So 6.9 is what we need for iPhone, and then iPad, Android tablet, and Android phone. So you don't need any more screenshots. Thanks for watching.